welcome into the Boardroom Podcast. I'm Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
Ward 4 Alderman Chad Wicker. Ben, how's it been? I think we've
Hot, brother.
Yeah, we've took a little leave for the summer. We're out a couple of weeks. We went to not really a vacation. Went down to the coast for a conference, and just been busy. 4th of July, and so what's going on?
Yeah, so the Mississippi Municipal League Conference down in Biloxi, an annual conference where we have thousands of people.
I was looking to the show on Super Talk this morning. Is over 4,400 people attended the conference.
And you got there's people that come from cities as small as Heidelberg. If you don't know where Heidelberg is, less than 1,000 people, and you've got cities the size of Hattiesburg and South Haven and Jackson that are kind of the top 5 biggest up there, and just a chance for everybody to collaborate and kind of network a little bit. There's always a lot of faces that we see every year we go down there. Sure. From times and when we had previous jobs or previous places where we lived in the state. I know my wife and I lived in Hattiesburg for a little while, and met some good people in that area, and in Petal, which is a little kind of suburb of Hattiesburg, if you will, a little city right there beside it. And it's always good to catch up with folks and take some time to sort of learn a little bit more about how this how local government works and what this job is all about, and it's always important to continue learning.
They got 3 days of classes that you can attend on various topics. What I always find kind of fascinating, Ben, is that Hernando, as far as comparing to DeSoto County, is one of the smaller cities, right? And so I think we're 22,000 maybe now. But when you look out and you get out to the entire state, we're like in the top, I think, 15 or so in population. So
that's right.
We're kind of unique. Is that most I believe it's 90% of the cities in Mississippi are under 5,000 people or something like that. So we forget about that, it being in Hernando and DeSoto County, the population we have here.
Yeah, and it's I think the interesting part about going down there and just meeting with all these people is you really understand, how in a lot of parts of the state the economy is not good, right? And they're facing a lot of really big challenges of people leaving their city, and we don't necessarily have the population decreasing issue. People want to move to Hernando, which is a great thing potentially for the city if we can continue to grow in the right ways. But sometimes talking with, other cities, we pile up the things that are going on in Hernando. There's a new $100 million high school being built. And there's a mixed use development across from there that's probably a, $400 or $500 million development that is going to, take, maybe 10 years to develop, but it's going to happen. Just those two things are enormous for our city, and certainly will bring some new people to the area, and hopefully we can keep the level of education as high as it is now, and that's a great challenge for our school district, but I know they're up to that challenge. But it's exciting for Hernando. Other cities are blown away by things like that happening up here, that we have that kind of level of private investment and public investment going on. But ultimately it's because we have great schools, we have a great community that people want to live in.
I'll tell you what, I rode down with Bruce, and we started counting on Highway 49 the number of Dollar Generals. I think by the time we got to Biloxi, I think we were at 13 or 14.
Yeah, I want to know who the site selector is for Dollar General.
Well, the point I'm getting to is that I think in a lot of these smaller areas, that's the grocery store, that's the convenience store. That's the place they go and get their groceries. And so we're very fortunate, I think, to have it like the Kroger we have. The Kroger Marketplace is awesome, and so we have a lot of good problems, is what we always call them. So
maybe we can get another grocery store to come to Hernando. You never know.
I've heard something about.
I've heard some rumblings about it.
Rumblings.
You just never know. Well, so we did, because of the week in Biloxi, the agenda was fairly light for our July 2nd meeting. There were some couple new hires, and we had our SRO agreement that we signed with DeSoto County Schools. So, during our term, we've gone from 4 SROs to 7 SROs to help keep our schools safe.
Right.
You know, at one point you had 4 SROs covering 5 schools. We're eventually going to have 6 schools by next fall with the new Hernando High School opening. And we'll have 7 SROs for this upcoming school year with the 5 schools. There's 2 that kind of float with the middle school and the high school.
I think what the way that the police department does it is there's 6 assigned to each school, and then I think one guy is kind of like the sergeant or whatever his rank is. He's kind of like the supervising officer of them. And I think he floats from school to school as he needs to.
The city gets $70,000 per officer
and so
to help cover the cost.
So the way that works is the DeSoto County Schools gives us, $409,000 a year to cover the cost of those 7 officers' salaries, and so I think you'd ask the chief of police, he'd probably say what it costs for a police officer is probably $110, something like that, with equipment and cars and all that. So.
Retirement, all the stuff.
Yeah, the PERS and all that.
Retirement insurance, everything, all in, is probably about $100,000 a year.
Yeah, 110, something like that. With inflation, it may have went up some. And because those guys at the schools work for the city of Hernando, they're not school employees. That's the agreement's really big on that. And I don't think the school system wants their own police department. I know with the sheriff's department, I think the sheriff's department covers. I think they have, 40-something school resource officers now. I think they're taking over a lot of South Haven, Horn Lake. So that there's growing for sure. That's been I know that was a big talking point in the sheriff's election last year, was school safety. So I think we have a good job to do that. And so we'll, I think we've done that ever since we've been on the board. And I think we only had 3 when we became
was it 3?
Board. Yeah, it wasn't many. I know we've added some each year. We've been on the board, and so
definitely have more. Basically doubled it. So that's a good thing for all our schools. Certainly, in today's climate, it's just it's a soft target that you need to have protection on, and hopefully we can continue to increase that as the next school site opens, but we'll just have to continue to negotiate that with DeSoto County Schools. We did have I wanted to talk about this because it's something that people may see. Winningham Estates phases CD&E had a bond reduction request. So essentially what that is, when people ask about this, when you have a developer that comes in and wants to develop a neighborhood, there's a bond tied to all of the public infrastructure. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Chad, now, because I know you're a little bit more of an expert on it with all your time in the planning commission. With all the infrastructure that's required, sidewalks, streets, making sure the grading and drainage and all these things are correct and accurate. And they'll ask for a reduction of that bond over time as things are completed. So Winningham phases CD&E, I guess, had a lot of paving done. So the streets are basically finished. The sidewalks, I think, are basically finished. And there's still just a little bit there's some drainage work that's still left to be done. But essentially the liability from the developer has decreased, so the bond decreases. Is that essentially what?
That's right. They want to make sure the road is built to the specs and everything, and there's no damage. And once we take over the road, we're responsible for it.
So the city engineer will go out. Public Works will go out. Everybody kind of checks on that to make sure the work is satisfactory, and that is to city government standard, not necessarily to the person that lives there that doesn't like something about the road or whatever it may be. It's just basically, is this a certain thickness of asphalt? Are the sidewalks installed correctly, and then they can just kind of move on from there. So it's fairly normal process or whatever there. But whenever we have a neighborhood like that gets their streets completely done, that's usually what you're going to see there. So I know Winningham's in my ward, and I had a couple people call about that. So that's sort of what's going on with that.
And we had a similar issue a couple of weeks ago with the subdivision Crossroads, just north of or just south of Green Tea and 51, and they actually had some people come and kind of were upset about some of the drainage that really wasn't part of the road. And so they addressed that, and the developer addressed that and got that corrected so we could reduce his bond because he's put money up for that bond. He wants, obviously, the developer wants to get his money back, and so that's why they want to reduce that.
It's really just a mechanism to holding developers accountable for doing what they said they're going to do, and having the city have a certain standard for
I think that the reason why we do it that way is I think in the past people would put the road down first, obviously to get in there to do the work, and then they would have concrete trucks tearing the road up, and so when the project was done, the road was trash and need to be repaid, and the city was on the hook for that. So that's the purpose of the bond.
Another thing we had was I guess we're moving forward slowly but surely. Green Tea subdivision sewer facilities plan. This is a public hearing is going to be on Friday, July 30th at 10 a.m. For folks that live in that area. Certainly that is an area that was annexed in years and years ago, and it looks like a sewer facilities plan is moving forward there. That money was initially going to be slated as ARPA funded from the federal ARPA funds that received, and it did not make the final list. So there's another source of loan funding that is being procured there. But you should be able, if people live in that area, it'd be a good time to show up and just sort of see what that plan is going to be.
Yeah, I think we both agree that is a long time coming. We annexed that part of the city in like 2004, I think, or something. Or was it 2000? Somewhere
I want to say that. I mean, I remember some of the people in that area that I know got a letter from the city in like 2009.
Yeah.
That basically said, "Oh, we're in the process of engineering a sewer plan, and we're going to need to take this right away," and basically like an initial letter of that, and then nothing happened for a very long period of time.
I think it was just a part they just didn't have the money to do it. It's going to be a costly project, but
from what I remember, the economy was not great in 2009, 2010,
right.
2011. It was really, really bad.
But when that's part of like annexing a place, you promise those services, and that's kind of the reason why you annex them, is you can provide better services, and that just hadn't happened there. I know that's been a real sticking point for those people that live there, and so it looks like we're finally getting it addressed, like you said, slowly but surely. But
and in that, kind of an offshoot of that, Dogwood Hollow is one of those areas that we did spend some ARPA funding on, and from what I understand, like the Skylake construction development of Delta Landing that's going in across from the new high school up there on McInvale, they've almost got the sewer extended to Dogwood Hollow for the city to take over and finish getting all those homes connected
that's
to the
gonna be a
sewer
big deal.
and do some ARPA funding. So that area of Nesbitt will now have sewer, and then potentially we can offshoot from there over time. But that's some good news up there. The other thing we have a sign ordinance committee now. This was something that sign ordinance was passed in May.
April, May, something like that.
And went into effect in June. And there was definitely some initial feedback of just, what exactly is this? How is it being enforced? That was raised almost immediately. And so I asked for a sign ordinance committee to be formed to just sort of take a look at this. Honestly, I really wanted to kind of have the enforcement stop for a little while it's being amended. But I understand that was not
the mayor
majority
mentioned
opinion. So
the mayor mentioned that it's not being enforced. I don't know. That's obviously a question for him and the staff there. I think my issue with the sign ordinance, I want to make sure we have something in place to prevent the political signs from popping up everywhere. And I think by doing that. But because of, I think, court cases and things like that, it's very cumbersome. You can't limit certain speech, and it's hard to regulate speech and separate a political speech from, a business sign. And so we just need to make sure that we're, not affecting our small businesses. I think that was your concern. I don't want to speak for you, but I think that was your concern. And obviously that we had heard from some people. I think at the meeting we had, I guess 2-3 weeks ago, we had a gentleman from the church who had some questions about that. And so you had a good idea about forming a committee, which I think is myself and Natalie Lynch, and then Austin, and I think a couple of business owners. I know Siboney from the
from the chamber, and then Mary Catherine Logan, who is a local business owner.
Saint by Social, I believe, and that's what she has.
Mm-hmm. And then Russell Jordan's one of our planning commissioners will be on there, who also is an attorney, and then Steve Pittman, the city attorney, Austin Cardozi, our planning director, and the mayor as well.
Yeah, so we'll have a group. I think we're having our first meeting scheduled for July 22nd, and so we'll have to put that out. That's a public meeting. If anybody wants to attend, I would encourage them to attend. It's you don't think about you really don't think about signage and how that could affect your city, but obviously, I think businesses feel like the signage is important, so people know where their business is and things like that. And we have a very, I think, strict ordinance as far as directional signs and things like that. And so I think the mayor and the planning department took the position that there was some type of Supreme Court decision, I think, in 2017 that basically nullified our sign ordinance. So we really haven't been doing anything except trying to keep things out of the right-of-ways. But I see things in the right-of-ways all the time as well. So we just need to.
Well, there's the public safety aspect of, like, because I've had people ask me, like, why do we even need one? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so if you are trying to pull out of a business and there's a huge sign that's right there in the right of way and you can't really see around it, you could have, a car accident potentially or whatever else. So you have to have a mechanism to sort of, enforce that or whatever else, to not just say, like, hey, you're causing accidents, please move your sign. Here's an ordinance to make you move it to the location or whatever. Right. I think that is really the only thing that we can, in my opinion, that's what we can regulate, is the location, and possibly like the size of the signs, not necessarily what is on them. That becomes more of a free speech matter. I don't know about the frequency and some of these other things like that.
I think the prior ordinance, I believe, Ben, you couldn't put out political signs until like 60 days out from the election or whatever. And so that wasn't followed during our last election. I don't think any time since 2017 it's been followed. And so, can you regulate that? That's a question we need to have. There's somebody would text me a case from, I think, Lakeland or whatever, Tennessee, where they had a lady who had a political, I guess you say a political protest sign in her yard that had some foul language on it or whatever, and said she didn't like anybody running for president, basically, but she used some colorful language.
Yeah, I saw that.
Anyway, and so the city of Lakeland was fining her like $50 a day to have this sign in her yard. She sued and actually won a judgment against the city of Lakeland for that fine money plus her attorney's fees. So the court basically said, the federal court there in the Tennessee Western District, that you can't regulate speech, even if it's obscene, because she had a bad word, I guess you could say. Right. On her sign. And so I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that you shouldn't be able to put profanity up on a sign. I don't think that. I think there's a public interest not to have that. That could affect property values and things like that. However, it's very difficult to regulate speech with a sign ordinance, and that's what we're going to try to sit down and talk about. So,
well, it's a lot of times it's a situation where you can have two attorneys look at the exact same document.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and this is why we have a court system. You have two attorneys look at the exact same document. One of them say, this is constitutional. The other one says it's not. And you end up in court over it. And so that is what...
Well, that's the purpose of court.
That's the purpose of the court. Certainly for the city and the board, making a discernment of, is this good or not? Whose opinion are we going to lean on here? That's what the ultimate opinion comes down to, the decision comes down to. But as far as I know, there hasn't been any kind of litigation so far on this one, and there may never be, right? If we continue to make amendments and keep working on it to get it fine-tuned, to me, I've always felt like we really need to have things that are, clear and easy to understand.
Concise.
Yeah. That someone goes up there that, is a new business owner, and, maybe they have a certain level of education. Maybe they went to college for a little bit. Maybe they never went to college. Maybe they never finished high school, but now they've got a business. Can they read this document and understand it and be able to follow it, or not? Because those are the people that create jobs in our community and help put food on people's tables. So we just want to make sure we're being fair to folks.
Yeah, and one thing too is this the new sign ordinance also addresses murals and digital signs that are kind of new that we basically didn't allow prior under the prior ordinance. So this all addresses all that too. So we'll have to make sure that doesn't affect businesses and homeowners and things. So anyways, I guess that's enough sign talk. I guess.
Yeah.
Ben.
Signs everywhere. Signs.
Hey man, that's a good song right there.
I saw the sign. That's another one.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of any other ones.
Yeah,
there was a movie called Signs. It was awful.
Hey, that may be a title. That might be the title of the podcast. There.
Might as well.
I saw a sign.
So what else we got going on? It's summertime. Summer Soccer League is just about wrapped up. Registration for fall soccer just concluded.
I just registered my youngest on Monday. I think Monday was the cutoff.
That's right.
So, but if you're listening to this and you forgot to register, give Ben an email or a call. He'll get you in there.
Yeah, well, I'll see what I can do.
But no, seriously though, Michael's always really good about helping people. Michael Carson about getting people registered late if they need to. If it is all based on how much room he has too. So if he's got room for them. Yep. Our soccer league has become fairly popular throughout DeSoto County, so it fills up pretty quick.
It is over. So we had in the springtime, we had over 600 kids signed up for soccer.
Right.
This fall, we have over 500. So you're talking about over 1,100 registrations this year. Compared to baseball, softball, still more than that. Mm-hmm. It's still the most popular sport. But when you're really looking at it, our parks department has really improved. I think over the last 4 years. Just in terms of overall registrations and participation and that sort of thing. We're hitting basically a record number every time a new season rolls around.
And I think that's reflective because I know me and you've been very supportive on some investments there in the soccer fields. We should have this will be the first season. I think we have lights out there on those 4 fields. Am I right?
Yeah, more lights than ever. I think
parking lot lights will be up.
All that stuff's working right now. If you go out there, if you got a late game out there for summer soccer, you're definitely seeing those turned on. They're, in my opinion, they're brighter than the old ones a little bit. They're a little bit brighter. So they look good out there.
They're expensive.
They are.
Are they the Cadillac lights?
I don't know. I thought we Cadillac of lights.
Yeah, we wanted to buy the Buick. Did we get the Cadillac?
They might have been the Cadillac lights. No, they weren't the Cadillac lights. No,
Ford.
There was somebody. I don't know what's between. I don't know I don't know what's the difference, but they weren't the Cadillac light. They don't have like color changing and strobe effects and like all that. Like that is like the
That's
ones.
The Cadillac.
The ones at like the professional and
Leather
college
seats,
stadiums, like all that stuff. We didn't. It's not all that. But they are LED lights. They're really nice. But yeah, summer soccer's about to end. Got one more game for our team. The Sharks are out there trying to make things happen. It's been tough. We had to play up an age group.
No shark attacks.
So we've had one. I think we've had maybe a couple. But we've had we had to play up an age group, so it's just been a really tough season. We have like a mix of rec and competitive players. And the girls are trying really, really hard. They're getting a lot better as the season's going on.
That's what it's all about, man. Having fun and making memories and learning about soccer, man.
Well, and I've told our team a few times this season. You learn a lot when you lose, right? Yeah. You learn a lot when you lose. You learn that you were tough and you hung in there and you almost won. You just got to push a little bit harder. So maybe you need to practice a little bit more, whatever the case might be. But
that's right.
But we do have, in that vein, I know we talked a lot about parks. We do have an opening for a sports director position. That is not the parks director position. I had a few people email me about that. Our parks director's leaving. Our parks director is not leaving. Jared's staying with us. But the sports director.
Did you fire somebody over there?
I did not. The sports director position is coming open, and that would be over baseball, softball, t-ball. That's the programs that position previously covered. Looking for a replacement there. That person is still in the position currently for a little while, but she did give kind of an advance notice that she was going to be moving out of town and that sort of thing, and moving on to another job opportunity closer to family. So wish her all the best and appreciate all the hard work she put in. Really feel like she kind of grew and developed. Honestly, over the last couple years. So. Good job, Brittany, and we appreciate all the work that you did for us. and hopefully we can find a good replacement. I know there's already some interest in that job, so we'll see how quickly we can get it filled.
Also, I want to Ray, and you know about this. The city has partnered with Southern Pediatric Therapy. Is that the name
That's
of
right.
her?
That's right. Yep.
Jennifer's deal, and so they're going to have a special league this fall.
Yeah, the fall Challenger
for
soccer.
kids. Yeah, fall. So the kids that have maybe some special needs issues or whatever, they're going to partner them with a partner. I guess
a buddy,
and help them enjoy soccer and play soccer. So I think that's really cool, man. That's really good.
It really and Southern Pediatric. I mean, this is not like an ad for them. I can speak from experience with with one of my kids of just all of the stuff that they do there is just unbelievable. Whether it's speech pathology, if it's something more physical related, if it's mental, if it, they have all different kind of therapies that they do there for the kids. They've really given back to the community in a lot of big ways. I think they did the Build a Tiger thing at Hernando Elementary last year, and so they're always giving back to the community. And this is a really big one. I think they have a similar program that they're launching at the Field House for some of the sports out there. They're trying to get kids active. Jennifer and Derek both are like former, I guess, high school, college athletes, and are able to they have a lot of joy in that area, and they want to pass that on to
South Haven for years had the baseball league,
Field of Dreams,
of Dreams thing, and that was really cool. So I think we're in the right direction with that, man. So
every kid likes to play. I mean, that's what it all comes down to, and it's not always.
So if anybody wants to participate in that, I think that's great. The more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may try to be a buddy. That'd be fun.
And if you want to be a buddy, so I think it's $25 to register as your child, and then if you want to be a buddy, it's free. If you want to be a buddy, it's 100% free. You can go out there, help out. You don't have to have any sort of training or anything like that. Like you'll be good to go. And so I think it's going to be a great addition to to fall soccer for sure. Having the Challenger Soccer League, I think it's a 6-week deal.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'll have different kind of games and training and all different kinds of things.
Practices and stuff.
That's right. That's
cool.
right.
What else, man? I think really as far as city business, the Whataburger's coming along, man.
It's coming along. We got walls up.
My son's excited about a Whataburger, man. He likes the spicy ketchup.
I'm not sure if I've ever had the spicy ketchup.
What?
Yeah, I got to try the spicy ketchup.
You're from Georgia, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It is, so it's July 10th, and high school football is just right around the corner. I don't know if you know this or not. I think it's August 23rd. They got a jamboree with Lake Cormorant coming up, and they got their first game against Rosa Fort in Hernando. This will be the last season, and this is gonna be.
It hurts me, man.
It's gonna hurt for some
here.
folks. I know it's gonna be the last season at this field. At the field at Hernando High School before they move into the new high school that we've mentioned already.
Yes.
So it will be I think the last home game is against Oxford in early November.
That's cool to be against Oxford. That's always been a big rival, at least when I was in school. So
I've heard a lot about that. I never realized that was a big rivalry, but apparently it was a big rivalry back in the day when the teams were like in 4A, I guess.
Yes, and this is probably late '90s, early 2000s. That was a big rival. We were all 4A, and they were, Hernando and Oxford were pretty strong in baseball and football, and so we played a lot.
So Jenkins Field, I guess the farewell tour. I don't know what you want to
so
call
are
it.
they going to? I wonder if they're going to name the new field.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Wickerfield sounds. They got a good ring to it.
It's an idea. It's certainly you can run it by them, see what they say. I don't know. That's a big.
What would be cool though is Dwayne Case has been the principal there. He taught there forever. That probably would be a natural fit to.
And he's
may at least name the baseball field. Yeah, he was
stuff.
a baseball coach there for a long time. So
it'll be interesting to see how all that comes about. And I know
because the gym's named after Theron Long. So
that's right. That's right.
I guess do you just move it? Do you move how's that work? You may know. If you build a new gym, does that become Theron Long Gym? And the other one doesn't anymore?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know how that works. Honestly, I don't know if you have a new one, do you name it after, or does it stick with the building? Because the middle school still has
that's right,
sports. I mean, it's not like the facilities aren't going to be used anymore.
Well, I was thinking we're going to have an extra football field. And I bet Haifa would really be interested in the extra football field.
I would think so. I'd like to think so, and it would be great to have them not have to, drive all over Creation just to have a football just to have a football league.
You know,
Well, we'll have to see what we can do on that. Well, we've talked about just about everything. Any other summer plans you got?
I think we're gonna. Well, I shouldn't say because I don't think my boys listen to this, but we're gonna do a little surprise
There you go.
weekend trip the weekend before school starts to I don't know, Dallas or St. Louis or something. Maybe go to Six Flags. So.
There you go. And you got the Olympics right around the corner. Opening
Yeah,
ceremonies are
well,
July 26th, coming up soon.
School starts August 1st.
It's
I think teachers have to be back, that week before.
in
So.
just under 3 weeks. Teachers are going to be back.
Oh, and remind
Getting
you,
those
you want to
rings ready.
give a little shout out to the Tee Off for Teachers golf tournament. I think y'all are pretty full up on teams and everything, right?
Yeah, I think there's a wait list for teams currently, but the crew at Hernando Tee Off for Teachers will be on July 25th this month at the Hernando Golf and Racket Club. Hole sponsors are $150. Tent sponsors are $500. You basically get a tent on one of those tee boxes for on the course, and you can hand out brochures or materials or for goodies or whatever you want to do. And then I think there is a current need for a lunch sponsor. They're looking for somebody to sponsor the lunch for all the golfers out there. I think that's $2,500 if you want to do that. Our presenting sponsor is Skylake Construction.
Okay.
So certainly happy to have all those folks come out there. Last year, the tournament raised about $23,000 and funded about 70 teacher grants in Hernando schools. So teachers are able to apply for a grant up to $500 for projects for their classrooms. So if you say, hey, we want to read Where the Red Fern Grows, and I want every kid to have a copy of it, but we don't want the parents to have to come out of pocket for it, a teacher grant would potentially cover that cost for the classroom.
Yeah,
So
and it's a great tournament. I think I've played the last 2 or 3 years, and it's is it two? How long y'all been doing it? Second
this
year?
will be the fourth year. Fourth year. And it's grown every year. I think this year we're gonna raise more money than we ever have.
Well, they got special things on different holes, so it's
There's games on the course. I think this year there's a opportunity to, if you can hit a hole in one, you can win a car from All Star Chevy. So there's a lot of.
It's probably gonna be number 3 though. That's a hard hole, man.
I think it's gonna be a long shot. I think it's gonna be 175 yard. Par 3, so you're gonna have to lean into one a little bit. Well, I will. You won't. You'll have like a sand wedge hitting it up there. It'll be easy for you, but all the rest of us will be struggling to make it happen. But
You gotta lift weights, Ben.
I know. Well, I don't have to because I haven't done it in a while. So for now,
Is that it, Ben?
I think that's it for this episode.
Shutting it off.
If anybody has any questions, you can always reach us at the Boardroom Podcast on Facebook or the other social media platforms. But for now, I'm Ward 6 Alderman Ben Piper.
I'm Ward 4 Alderman Chad Wicker.
Thanks for listening.